Hello and welcome back to Shitsurei, the podcast where I rudely interrupt other creators' workflow. With me today is Tristan, otherwise not otherwise known as, but is known for running Glass Reflection. Hello, welcome to the show.
It's funny that you say that you're rudely interrupting my workflow. I literally have Premiere open on a different screen and was editing up until you were like, "Hey, call time," and I'm like, "Yes, I did agree to be on this. That's right. I can finish this later. I'm sure."
Oh no! Now other people now there's gonna be a delay, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, when this podcast comes out, it's all Kamimashita's fault that we didn't get our video a day earlier."
Something like that. Yeah. But thank you for having me on.
No, it's a wonderful opportunity, and you know, this is kind of a fun segment because this is where you would normally like introduce yourself and say who you are. But I think a lot of people know who you are. Is that like a weird feeling, just being like a known person?
I mean, it is, but also I would say that when people are like, "Hey, you're really famous," and I'm like, in a very, very specific subset. I've been doing this since 2009, and I only need one hand to count the amount of times that I've been recognized in a public place that was not related to an anime convention. Like that, like I am not even B-list famous. I'm like C-list famous as far as like I kind of like it that way because I can walk out in public and nobody knows who I am, and that's fine. I think I like it that way. Heck, I can even go to cons now and I don't really get noticed all that much. I walked around most of Anime North this past year and I was fine, and I was quite happy with that, honestly.
Now, part of the question though is, are you like incognito in these circumstances? You're not wearing the full getup with the vest and the.
I mean, that's also a factor. I mean, had I been walking around with like the red vest, well, it depends. Like I'm assuming the red vest is a lot more iconic at this point compared to the old jacket that I can't wear anymore because it will literally fall apart. But yeah, it is true that like when I was walking around North, I was not in the full red vest getup because I didn't have a reason to be. Mm-hmm. So that probably helps because then it's one of those, even if they do recognize my face, they're just like, is it though? Because that goes back to a thing that even when I would say I was a lot more popular than I am now, and that's more to say is I don't feel like my viewership has declined at all. It's just like the viewer base on YouTube has kind of exploded since I've started because I've been doing this since 2009. But the period where I was quote unquote more popular, even in the full getup, I could go large swaths of the day without being pulled aside and being like, "Hey, can I get a photo with you or something?" But the second that one person did it, a line would form, which kind of made me believe that like people recognized me, but they didn't want to be the one to call me out to stop me from what I was doing. But if they see other people doing it and they see that I'm fine with it, then they're like, "Oh, so that means I can do this." And then they will come over and ask for photos, and I'm fine with that. And that worked out quite nicely.
I want to ask more questions, but first, you know, just for the pomp and circumstance of it all, would you please introduce yourself, what you do? Kind of almost like a like a quick elevator pitch of like someone who's like completely new to YouTube, likes anime, wants to see more anime content. How would you word that?
I would word that by saying, "Hi, my name is Tristan Gallant, better known on the internet as Arkada, and I run a YouTube channel called Glass Reflection." I can't say that I've run the YouTube channel since 2009 because that would be an outright fabrication, considering that YouTube was very ban happy back in the day, and this is like my second or third YouTube channel technically. And then I spent a couple of years off on Blip and a couple of other places, tried my hand at my own website, didn't work out all that well, and eventually came back to YouTube when they started playing ball nicely. Yeah, so my YouTube channel is the easiest way to find me and find my personal content where I talk about anime and have for a very long time. I do seasonal reviews and longer videos about whatever the heck anime related I feel like talking about in that given time period. I am also one of 3 hosts of an anime podcast where it's called Quest for the Best, and we are attempting to come up with a list of the 100 greatest anime of all time, which is quite difficult when you have 3 people that have varying tastes. So that is something that we do, and that is also on YouTube and where other podcasts can be heard if you want to listen to 3 people do that, which I hope is fun. But we started that more as just we spent like 5 years or 4 or 5 years just having weekly calls on Discord, and then we kept on saying, hey, we should turn this into a podcast. And we're like, nah. And then we turned it into a podcast.
Which is it's a really great podcast, by the way. I listened to the first episode.
Thank you very much.
It was nominally about free run and ended up being maybe half about solo leveling. But that's great. I love when things meander.
That was kind of our goal, because it's like, we knew that there was no way that we were going to get a podcast and it was only going to be an hour-long podcast. I have listened to and I have been a part of podcasts that are aimed to be only like an hour an episode. And it's like, Jeff Thru, one of the other co-hosts, Mother's Basement, he could go on by himself and fill an hour and a half if he so chose. So we were trying to be like, okay, well, let's aim for like a 2-hour podcast, but then we'll mix it up and it'll be about an hour or so on the main topic. But then like we could do a question of the week and we talk to people. We can have a side quest where we meander about things. So yes, in that first episode, we were talking about solo leveling, more so how we would not be putting it on the list despite its popularity. And we gave our reasons as to why we would not put it on the list of greatest anime of all time. And then we transitioned that into my current favorite anime of all time, which is Frieren.
Which is, so as a first choice. I mean, I know that you kind of went out of your way to pick kind of a more non-controversial first choice, right? But even
no,
then, it ended up being a little...
it's my favorite anime right now. Yeah. So, it like, I don't really try to be non-controversial. It just happens to be that, like, when we were trying to set the tone for this, I wanted something that not only was legitimately one of, if not my actual favorite, and it just so happened that Frieren is my actual favorite, but also one that I felt like I could, at least at the start of the podcast, get Jeff and Miles on board with. If I came out of the gate with being like, no, we're talking about dungeon people, they would have been like, no, we're not. And I'd be like, but dungeon people, though. And it wouldn't have worked. I still don't know if we're going to get an episode on dungeon people. I still don't. But I'd love it, but I don't think it'll go well for me if we tried.
I'd be very surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the comments would be like, dungeon people, doesn't he mean dungeon meshi? What's dungeon people?
No, we do have an episode on dungeon meshi, though. And we have a separate episode with Songwon, who voices in dungeon meshi, and it is glorious.
It sounds glorious. I can't wait to listen to it. Now, I really want to tap into, because like you said before, you have been around the YouTube game for quite a long time. Honestly,
I've been around since we had to go back in the old days where we watched VHS tapes and we had to go to school in the snow, uphill both ways.
Yeah, I've been around a lot.
Your name is almost synonymous with that era of YouTube for me. When I first started watching kind of anime content, anime review content, anime analysis content, you're up there with, like, Demolition D, and of course Jeff as well, with his What's an OP series. And I just wanted to see how you felt the landscape has changed, because you have this context of being able to say, I've been there since almost a decade, since the very beginning, and having to move and shift among the ages. Like, how does that feel?
Well, I mean, I'd like to feel like I haven't. I don't know whether it's probably not for the better, obviously, that I do not change too much. And the main reason why I don't change is because when it comes to making content on YouTube, how I've kind of looked at it and explained it to other people is, have you ever seen, I don't know what the like official title of it is, but it's a triangle that has one thing on each corner, and you have to pick two of them.
Yes.
I've seen it normally done in like, hey, you want something done? Do you want it done well and fast? Then it's not going to be cheap. If you want it cheap and fast, it's not going to be good. And if you want it cheap and good, it's not going to be fast. That sort of thing. So when it comes to making content on YouTube, I kind of have a similar thing where the three corners are a video that I can make because I am limited, like, by technology. I'm limited by my knowledge, by what I'm able to do. I can't make a video on what's it like to have spent like 12 months living in Japan. I can't do that. I don't have the financial ability or the time to be able to do something like that. So it's like, I need to be able to make the video. First off, it needs to be a video that does well. As I said, I could do a video on dungeon people. I don't think many people are going to click on it, and I can at least be cognizant of that. And then the third corner is a video that I actually want to do. Because, I mean, for a very long time, and still technically now, there's a lot of, like, clickbaity stuff that you can make and would probably do well, but I don't like making that type of content. I sometimes make it if it happens to align with funny things that I'm enjoying at the time. I can make a clickbait thing about a particular show that I am watching if I am watching it and I enjoy it, and I'm more so making fun of clickbait material in doing that. But like I don't like turn myself into a content farm to just make things that get clicks that feels very soulless, for lack of a better description. So I'm sorry, I forgot how we started off this conversation. Now I've gone down this rabbit hole and I felt like I need to jump back to it. You were asking me, how's it feel that the landscape has changed? So I don't try to follow the trends too much, which is a little bit fascinating because then it means that like I see where like the anime space on YouTube has changed. So like when I started, reviews were kind of a thing. It wasn't only anime specific, but a lot of like nerd culture and video games especially started getting really, really big on YouTube. And that's kind of where I started out. And then I saw anime content. Like if you wanted to do really good anime content that got a lot of views, you would do top 10 lists or you would just do top lists. So like that's the Watch Mojo era sort of like anime making content. And then now I feel like the content has shifted less towards anime itself and more like otaku lifestyle. So that's why you have a lot of big named YouTubers who are now basing themselves out of Japan. Like even Jeff, he lives in Japan for like half the year, and that's where he's making his content now. I'm not able to do that because like I have family roots here in Canada, so I'm not as free to move to Japan, and I'm not entirely sure if I'd want to live there full time. I love visiting Japan. I like being in Japan, but I don't know if I would want to live there necessarily. So I just end up keep doing what I'm doing for better or for worse, because it's like, well, you could be getting more views if you did XYZ. And it's like, yeah, but do I want to do that? I mean, a part of me does, because I like seeing numbers go up. It's like numbers going up is great. Coming onto your YouTube back end and saying, hey, your last video, it's ranked 10 out of your last 10. That sucks. Versus, hey, your latest video is the best out of the last 10. That feels good. It's like stupid YouTube good. And how they design their UI and stuff.
But at like what cost, right? If you did end up getting there through some sort of very clickbaity or very pandering sort of video, right?
Yeah, because I would always be worried that if I made that type of video, it might do really well once. And then people would then associate what I do with that and might not click again. Now, that could always end up happening anyway, because if I make enough videos on things that people don't care about, or a particular person doesn't care about, they would be less inclined to click on other things that I've done. I find that like the best thing to do sometimes, like if you're making content on YouTube, is to try and find that balance between personal projects of things that you do want to talk about, and then also things that are popular, but you think that you have something to say with it. Because then you can come on and you can talk about like Dandadan, and people will click on a video about Dandadan. They probably wouldn't click on a video about Read or Die TV from like 15, 20 years ago. I'd love to make a video on Read or Die TV. I have like a 40-page script on a long-form video that I really wanted to make. Because for a period of time, like 2 years ago, I was trying to do these much like longer videos, like feature-length-ish videos.
I saw
got
the Spice
3
and
of them
Wolf
done.
one. I saw the...
Yeah, Spice and Wolf, Death Note, and Cowboy Bebop were the 3 that I did. And I did it in that order kind of to test the waters of it. The Death Note video did very well, and I was very happy and very proud with it. I knew the Spice and Wolf video wasn't going to do as well because Spice and Wolf doesn't have the same notoriety or popularity as Death Note, but I was like, that's okay. Because then for my 3rd video, I will do Bebop. And everybody knows Bebop, and it's a very popular show, and it didn't do as well as I kind of hoped. So I was going to, after doing Bebop, I was going to move into Read or Die, because I have a lot of stuff to talk about with Read or Die TV and Read or Die OVA to a point. But I already knew that it would be like, no, I want to alternate between things that people don't know about necessarily versus something that's a lot more popular. But then when the popular video goes out, or what I expect to be the popular video goes out, and it doesn't do as well as I thought, then you have to pivot. And so, yeah.
That's really, so is your natural inclination to do a longer video? Like if your videos, if views didn't matter, if you were guaranteed that you were going to get...
if views didn't matter, yes, absolutely. I would love
like
doing
hours
that because well, maybe not hours long. Like an hour and a half, I think I can get a decent amount of talking points on, depending on the show. Well, it also depends on the show because like I'm not going to be able to get like 2 hours out of a show that's only like that's like a 5 episode OVA
some people would be able to.
No, some people would be able to, and I think technically I can even correct myself in saying no, I could probably get an hour and a half, 2 hours out of Takopi's Original Sin if I wanted to. But so it's like it is possible, but it's not guaranteed. But yeah, no, if it wasn't a problem, because those videos take a while. Death Note technically took me about a year, but that was like a year off and on with a lot of other things. I would be working on other videos, and then I would come back to Death Note, and then I'd put it back on the back burner, and yada, yada, yada. Spice and Wolf was like a concentrated 2.5, 3 months. And then I think Bebop was another like 3 or 4 months of like concentrated work, barring some seasonal video stuff that I would do. And then like when that doesn't work out, it's like, okay, but can I really justify spending the next 4 or 5 months on this video that's not going to perform well? And that's the downside of trying to do what you want on YouTube, is like there comes a point, especially if you somewhat rely on it for financial stability and in order to pay the bills to at least some extent. It's a very bad idea to put all of your eggs in one basket, especially when the entire basket is owned by Google. Don't do that, kids. Terrible idea. Yeah, no, I would love if views weren't an issue, if money was an issue, I would make videos that are like an hour and a half long on countless things from the shelf that sits behind me. There is so much that I would love to talk about that I normally won't be able to because like it's not going to do well. I'd like to do a video on Girls Last Tour. People probably won't care as much. I'd love to talk about Oh My Goddess. I would love to talk about Maharumatic Automatic Maiden. I would love to talk about, let me just freaking look. So much stuff. I'd like to do a bigger, deeper dive on freaking Gungrave than I did when I did a review of it like a decade ago. Like, there's so much that I could talk about, but the thing that stops me is that this video is not going to do well and will take too long to make. And I'm not in a position that I can make content like that. I know that there are creators that are able to do that. I am so envious of people that are able to do that. I'm envious of freaking H-Bomber guy who can come out and release like a 3-hour epic on Pathologic, a game that nobody gave a care about or even knew existed until he made a video on
until that video,
and
yeah.
It got millions of views. And like, I am envious of that amount of pull just because I would love to be able to do that with things that I want to do. And I mean, technically, arguably, I can. I just have to go into it with no guarantee of what the end result is going to be. And that's scary. And it's just one of those, you have to be able to deal with that. It's a risk management thing.
No, for sure. I will say that I've mentioned before on this very podcast that the videos I have tried to make for the sake of doing the popular thing, getting more views on like My Hero Academia or in the like, actually end up performing not very well compared to some random video that I just wanted to make about something I liked. Like say, like my new game video was very good. My I made a video
new
on
game.
Girls Last Tour.
Oh, new game
is so good, isn't it?
It is so good.
I made a video on season 2 where Nene gets she gets that programmer job. She shows so much growth and. And yeah, it did quite well. So I would say that's the problem though, right? Because would you say that YouTube is basically the majority of, if not a large part of your cash flow at the moment?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
Because that's kind of the thing. It's like people are freaking out like right now about the very recent changes that YouTube has done. Yeah, well, that and how views are interacting with ad blockers and things like that. People are like talking about it like it's the end of the world. I don't look at it like the end of the world, if for no other reason than this is like the 5th or 6th, whatever you want to call it,
apocalypse.
And it's like you just kind of get used to it and you move on. It's only really scary if the majority of your money comes in through that. But it's like, no, I have a variety of different income streams. Yes, I make money off of the videos directly through AdSense. I make money off of my Patreon that has been going on for a very long time. But then I also do other things. I have done editing and writing work for, well, technically this is still YouTube, but it's a video game channel run by some friends of mine. from Cambridge, and that's a lot of really good fun. And then we do stuff with the podcast now. And then I have contract work that I do on the side for social videos and a lot of other things. So it's like I'm trying to find as many different avenues to get money as possible.
Diversify.
Because if YouTube suddenly decides, hey, anime is now pornography for XYZ reason, and then advertisers don't put ads on any of my videos or any content like that, the algorithm dumbs down all of my videos, so my views go down, and then Patreon dries up because nobody can even find me in the first place. Like, that's a problem. So you can't rely on that. And it's a matter of, okay, well, I have been doing this for over a decade, but like, what's going to happen a decade from now? I don't know. So you try and plan as best as you can to have backups and have fail safes. It might not work out, but you got to do your best with it.
I think it's really interesting that the side avenues you've created also build upon the knowledge that you gained by running a channel in the first place. You know,
I mean, that's
the
kind of
social
the
media
best
stuff,
way
the
of
editing stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of the best way of doing that. It also makes it very easy for me to be able to justify higher costs. Because it's like, oh well, we could get some high schooler to edit this, and I'm just like, yeah, but can the high schooler edit it in less than an hour with the knowledge of like 15 years of editing behind them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe so. So that's the benefit of what I'm able to offer when I'm doing contract work. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on like where you're getting the contracts from and who it is. So like I can look at the classifieds just in my area of like people looking for either video editors or social media. And the downside of me not being able to take the majority of those jobs is because they're when you have companies that are looking for like videographers and things, they're looking for like one person that can do everything. And I end up struggling a lot when it comes to can you go on site and record all of your own B-roll and all of your own A-roll, and you have all of this tech and all of this equipment on your own already, right? Can you just use all that? And it's like, this is all expensive. Where exactly am I getting the money for all of that? Like I have been extremely cheap when it comes to most of the tech that I use. Like the main DSLR camera that I use for my videos that I could record a video on now, I've had that for like 7 or 8 years now, maybe a bit longer.
Oh, wow.
Because like it works, it's not broken. The great thing about anime is that there is no reason for me to upgrade to something like a 4K camera, because I'm not going to have anime footage in 4K. Unless I do some really crappy AI upscales, that's going to look garbage. So why would I ever do that? So all of my videos are and still are working in 1080p because that's like the best anime footage that I can get. I don't want to upscale beyond that. So it's like, why get a better camera? Why spend the money on that?
Are you entirely self-taught? Did you learn? Is any of this kind of a background in like maybe something you pursued in college or education?
Sort of. So I went to Ryerson University, that has been renamed, and I can't remember what they renamed the university to. You can look it up. I went to Ryerson University in Toronto, and I have a degree. It's a Bachelor of Arts in New Media. And
okay.
The fun thing was, in our first year in New Media, if you went to the head of the New Media program and you asked her, what is New Media? Her answer was, New Media is everything. And it took the next 4 years in that program to really understand that, she really meant that. We did not do any singular thing in that program. It was a kitchen sink program then. I don't know how it is now, but it's like, no, I did some video editing there, but I knew video editing beforehand because like I was a shitty little kid in high school making AMVs and putting it on amv.org using Windows Movie Maker. So I knew rough editing stuff before, but they tried to make us use Avid, and anybody who's ever used Avid, I'm sorry. We did videos on robotics. I learned how to code with an Arduino. I had an entire class take place in Second Life one time. Like we did a lot of really weird stuff in the New Media program.
That sounds
but the great
so
thing,
cool, though.
It sounds so cool.
That.
But then it's like, all right, well, at the end of the day, I have this degree from New Media, and then if I went to a job interview, they'd be like, so what's this New Media thing? And
I
then
know
the
a lot
great
about
thing,
Second Life.
yeah, I know all about Second Life. And then I can just be like, okay, well, what do you need it to be? Because chances are I covered something in there, especially the like 2 or 3 courses on website coding, where the teacher was just like, I feel so sorry for you guys because I have to make you learn all of this stuff, and in about 3 years it's all going to be obsolete. Because I'm like, yeah.
We don't code things in HTML anymore?
No. And I think this was like right before the advent of HTML5 even. So it's like, even if we knew, like, it's still useful. Like, I still sometimes find my knowledge in like CSS very useful. And then I learned how to code in a language called processing, I think, which is essentially just a fancy version of Java. And that's still somewhat useful, especially if you like playing Minecraft a lot and you want to fix what's broken with the mods that you tossed into the thing. But yeah, no. So my university, I learned how to do things, but more, I thank my 4 years of university for giving me a student loan that allowed me to support myself without needing a job, such that I could do those first 4 years making videos for YouTube. Because my first video I made in my year off between high school and before I got accepted to university, I was living with my mom at the time, and I made like a handful of like 5 or 6 videos for YouTube that went up back in 2009. And they were reasonably good for the time. And then I got into university, and then I spent the next 4 years working on university, but then also doing content. I was on a website. I did podcasting even back then. I was continuing to make my own YouTube content. And then eventually, around the time that I graduated from university, I finally got signed with an MCN, and I was making enough money off of AdSense alone to pay my rent, to the point where it was like, I am making about as much as I would if I was doing minimum wage right now. So why would I ever do that? And why can't I then instead spend some time and work on this, which is what I continued to do.
That must have been a very defining moment. Like, did like a wave of like pride come over you when you like got that first?
I mean, it was kind of the second time that happened. The first time that happened, this was when I was technically off YouTube because I was on a video service called blip.tv, which a lot of like content creators were trying to use back then because YouTube's AdSense program and revenue sharing did not exist at this time. And so the first time that ever happened was when I made enough money on Blip to be able to go downstairs into the lobby of my dorm building, and I got a can of Dr. Pepper out of the vending machine with some money that I made off of my videos. That was a defining moment for me because I was like,
That's such a great story.
I bought this drink with me talking about. I think around that time I made videos on like Hellsing and Samurai 7 and Lane, and it's like, yeah, I talked about anime and I made enough for a can of Dr. Pepper. I think it was
how
Dr. Pepper.
sweet
It might have
must
been
that
Coke.
can
Either
been?
way, that was really good. But then yes, cut to like 3.5, 4 years later, and I'm able to make as much money as I would if I was working a minimum wage at a really crappy job. So I mean, it wasn't great money, but it worked, and I was able to continue to do what I wanted to do. So I was like, all right, we're going to try this out for a little bit. And we kept doing that. So
I think it's a really critical time period. I think if you take a look at some of these smaller like Anitube channels, it is a lot of people in college having the freedom for the first time to do what they want. And then maybe about like 4 years in, you see them disappear because they've found another job and they weren't able to make this work. So I really give it to you for persisting.
Yeah, I mean, what was I think it was an interview that Bo Burnham had on Late Night one time, and he basically said that his success was all about luck, and it was so much luck. And he's just like, you're not going to be the person that like wins the lottery and says, go buy lottery tickets, it works, liquidate all of your assets. And it's like, no, you were the lucky person where it worked. And so he was nice enough to, or humble enough rather, to be able to say that a significant amount of luck was part of his success. Now, it's also, he's really good at what he does, but I am not going to be so obnoxious as to say that the reason why I've had so much success is because I'm so freaking good at it. In fact, I heavily suffer from imposter syndrome to the point where I'm just like, I don't even know if I'm good anymore. Does anybody even watch my stuff? I don't know. And it's hard to tell sometimes because, like, you look at YouTube comments and don't. So, yeah. I don't know how bad you've ever experienced the YouTube comment from a creator perspective, but they are not traditionally a nice place. It is always easier for people that hate your content to leave comments and messages than it is for people who like your content to be able to say something about it. And so trying to find those connections with people that actually like what you're doing, that's very hard. And I feel like it's been getting harder and harder all the time.
I remember one of my first videos, I forget exactly what the comment was, but it sounded vaguely negative, and I totally overreacted. I wrote a long comment apologizing for whatever I got wrong, and then I reread the comment a while later, and it was a Monogatari reference that I did not get, and I was just supposed to say, sorry, I stuttered, but... So then, it was one of the first shame deletes I've had of a comment. Hopefully they didn't see it, but I totally get the.
Well, I mean, I've also gotten into the mood of like I don't respond to negative comments because one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to run into a person who was saying negative things about your video, thinking that you would never respond, and then when you do, they like 180 and get all apologetic, being like, "Oh, you actually answered me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not actually think that you read these." You have that kind, but then you also have the kind that double down, and there's no point in really arguing with them because there's not anything you could possibly say that would change their mind, because it's like they don't trust your opinion, or they don't want to believe anything that you say. So there's no words that you could possibly give them that would change things. And so like when I kind of realized that would be what I ended up with for like 99% of negative comments, I was just like, no, I'm okay. Either leave it alone, or if it's particularly negative, I'd block and move on. But
one of the saddest stories in gaming that I constantly think of when this comes up is the creator of Fez. Because put out Fez, immensely incredible game, innovative, really unique concept. But then he would just like argue with people all day on like Twitter and comments and stuff. And it got to him so bad that Fez 2, which was in the works, never came out. And we were robbed of this like glorious opportunity. And it's just a continual lesson to me of just like, you can't pay that much. You can't care that much about the negative comments.
No, but then again, as I said, it's like really hard to find the good ones. You'd almost need somebody to crawl through the shit for you, to like go through the negativity in a way that it's like it doesn't really affect them because it's not their work, and you need them to look through it for you and to find the good things, to be like, hey, here's some of the good comments that came out this week. But I don't have a person to do that for me, and I'd probably need to pay them for the amount of content
mental
that they might
anguish.
Yeah. Or that too. Yeah.
I'm gonna pivot for a second. So your content stands out to me, especially during those earlier days of YouTube, especially in the anime analysis space, because when I think of anime analysis around that time, I think of like Digibro, now Trixie, right? And it's all this sort of like anime clips and narration on top, but you went a different direction. You actually appeared on camera, even back then, and it seems like a college dorm. I think the first video on your channel is still your Death Note review. How much of that was a conscious decision?
Actually,
how much of that?
Okay, so as a correction, the Death Note video, if we're talking about a Death Note video that I did in 2009, that was my mom's apartment, actually. Okay. That was right before I got into university. No, it was shortly after that. So I think from about Haibane Renmei for almost the rest of the year until I did this weird cyber thing that I tried to do this stupid thing that, oh God, it sounds so dumb now that I'm thinking back on it. I tried to do this thing that a lot of like reviewers of content at the time were doing, where it's like they tried to make storylines into their reviews and like and like have this like big universe within their own content prior to like Marvel
a meta
doing
elements.
Yeah, so I had this like cyber month where I made this storyline that I got trapped in a computer by this glowing green ball that also happened
like
to sound
ARG.
like me. Because, yeah, and it was not good. It was a terrible idea. The green screen was horrible because I didn't have proper lighting and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But that was the era. That was when I was actually in like a proper college dorm, because I was only in a proper dorm for like 1 year, and then it was just. And then if anybody who went to Ryerson knows that you basically only had two options. Well, technically three, but nobody used the third one. You had the really expensive option because they refurbished an old hotel and turned it into student housing, but only the rich kids with families that paid for them could go and sit in that one. You had Pittman Hall, which is where I was, which was the cheapo one. Not the super cheap one, but the super cheap one didn't have internet when I was there, and that was a no-go for me, even back then, even back in 2009. That was a no-go. But but Pittman Hall was only for like first years. Because they only had so much space and they filled it up with just first years. So for years 2 through 4, I had to go and rent at various different places in downtown Toronto, which was not cheap. But I got it to work because my student loan, I was able to stretch my student loans out very well. And that was how I was able to do that. I feel like I went on a side tangent from what your question was.
No,
I'm so sorry.
I love it. I really appreciate it. Why appear on camera?
Oh, because it's easy. So, no, here's the thing. It is a level of ease that it really comes down to the person. If you know if you have a camera and you know how to use it, using footage of yourself, if you're not overconscious about it, which I know a lot of people are, and that's perfectly fine and valid. That is so much time in the edit when you're talking about like anime content, for no other reason than you can go on a rant and you can just like make a couple of quick cuts to yourself, but mostly you keep it on yourself. And then that's a whole stretch of the timeline you don't need to touch. But if you're putting anime clips there, you need to find the anime clips. You need to convert them so that whatever editing program you're working with actually accepts them. You need to edit around various things in the clips that you don't want to use. This was back in the day, like when I started, this was back in the day when 90% of all anime clips had the DivX logo in the bottom right-hand corner. A lot of people, I mean, even to this day, people use footage that have hard subs encoded on it, and I hate it. It's a pet peeve of mine because it's like you're talking over the anime, but the subtitles are there, so I feel like I should be reading the subtitles to an anime I'm not even watching. And it's like getting rid of all of those. And it's it's a time-intensive thing, because especially like if I start talking about a thing that happened in an anime, I try to showcase, if it's a very specific moment, what that moment was. But if I'm just in general talking about like, hey, here's this character, and they go on this journey, either a physical journey or a metaphysical journey or a character growth journey or something like that. And then I need to go find clips that represent that. And since I've already recorded my script dialogue and I record that in front of camera, I can either just drop that footage of me onto the timeline and call it a day, or I could spend the time and go and try and find and dig and do all of this for every single thing I say in my script. And when you're talking about a 15, 20-minute video, or if you're talking about a 45-minute video, or if you're talking about an hour and a half long video, that adds up. And I am envious of like people coming into the scene now, especially if they have the financial backing to make a VTuber avatar. My God, that is so nice. But I'm old school now. I can't swap to a VTuber avatar because that would just look bad. Also, I have high standards if I was to make a VTuber avatar, and I don't like 98% of VTuber avatars. I'm fine with watching VTubers. I'm okay with that. But if I was to make my own VTuber, my own model would need things that are like either impossible, close to impossible, or ridiculously expensive, and only like 2 riggers can do it. So good luck. And so that just would never work. So instead, I take the easy way out and I turn on a camera. We'll see. We'll see if I ever change that in the future to something that's even easier for me to do. But it's mostly I've been on camera because of ease of use, and it just makes my life easier. Because especially like back in those videos that we were talking about before, in my first year in dorm, that was back during a period where all of my videos were done in a day. Because I was still in university, I still had essays to write, I had classes to go to, and I remember that time very distinctly because it was always on a Wednesday, and I always had class like at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was like a 2 or 3 hour class with some labs and some other things that I had to do. I went out to get lunch at around 11:30. I was back in my dorm room about 12:30. I would eat my lunch while writing up the script of whatever video I was talking or whatever anime I was talking about that week. The script might be done by like 3:30 or 4. I would film it before supper, go downstairs to the mess and get some food, come back up, edit it until about like 10 or 11 at night, render it until like midnight, upload it by like 12:31 in the morning, go to bed. And that was like a good chunk of my second year of YouTube. I can't do that now.
Just rinse and repeat over and over again.
Yeah, and I lie. I technically can do that now. I look back on those old scripts and like it's probably just a matter of, because I've been doing this for as long as I have, that those scripts are like extremely what's a good way of describing it? Shit. But no, I mean, it is what you would expect out of essentially a high schooler, because that's what I was when I was first starting out. Like a high school senior talking about anime when they have like no knowledge or experience in critique, in reviewing, in anything like that. It was basically just, here's my rough thoughts in a way that makes me try and sound like I know what I'm talking about. Because I used big words. I read Roger Ebert. I know review stuff. I do things on the interwebs. And yeah, I can't do videos like that in a day anymore. It's just, I don't have the time, energy, motivation.
Or the need, really.
No,
right?
not really.
There's no urgent. I mean, you still have to stay on top of the game a little bit. But
yeah.
That reminds me, do you have a sort of like optimal release schedule? Like, do you aim for a certain number or quota?
I mean, because of the amount of work that I do now, not YouTube related, I still try and make sure that I have at least something up a month. I want to try and have something a month, whether that's the most recent video on my channel, as we are talking right now, is, hey, I went to go see Demon Slayer in the theater. Here's my experience about that, because I haven't did like a travel log like that in a bit, where I would just talk about not only like the movie itself, because there's a reasonable amount to talk about with the Demon Slayer movie, but also like, hey, I haven't gone to a theater in like a couple of years. Funnily enough, the time I went to a theater before that was to go see Spider-Verse Part 2, which was another movie I walked into not realizing that, oh yeah, you're not going to get the next part of it for a while, so it's going to feel incomplete. And I really wish I knew that about Demon Slayer before walking into it. But yeah, so it's like I try to get a video out once a month, which is very easy every 3 months because a new anime season kicks in. And then I just need to spend the week to sit down, watch like at least the first episode, if not a few more, of like all 30 some odd shows that come out, and then write a quick bare bones up down thoughts on it, which sounds sort of easy. It's just difficult because of how many there are. Because it's like, I don't try to go too deep into them because I don't have the time. Even as it is, most of those videos end up being like 45 minutes to an hour, because it's like, I'm trying to talk about like 30 some odd shows. I got an intro and an outro. Like, yeah, it adds up. But about once a month is what I aim for. Used to be once a week, but that's
nowadays,
not possible.
how scripted are they actually? Because the Demon Slayer video I watched, I enjoyed
Not scripted
it.
at all.
It's very,
that one wasn't.
Yeah, it's very impromptu.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. It really depends on like what I want to talk about. So the long form videos, pretty much if you see something from me and it's like heavily edited, like you can even just tell based on the rough editing of the video. If it's something heavily edited, chances are it's fully scripted. All of my seasonal reviews are basically fully scripted, because I don't think I would always worry that I would forget something if I didn't, especially when you're trying to talk about like 30 some odd shows. Just having a list of shows. Well, you need more than a list of shows. Even if I had a list of shows in front of me, I would read the title of the show and be like, oh crap, which one is that one again? That's the Isekai. Wait, that doesn't help. And then like you're trying to figure out all of the details. So those ones are scripted. The Demon Slayer one wasn't scripted. And I was mostly going based on a piece of advice from my other co-host, Miles. He was like, no, you should, like, the only reason I went to go see Demon Slayer is because he told me to do it. And it was like day of. He was like, you should go see Demon Slayer today. And I was like, why? Why would I want to go and see Demon Slayer. This doesn't seem like the type of thing that I should do. I haven't talked about Demon Slayer since season 1 back on my channel. He's like, it doesn't matter. Go to the theater and then come back home, sit in front of your camera and just talk about Demon Slayer. And then I was like, okay. And then I did that. And then the video happened to do reasonably well. I don't know if that's just because it was Demon Slayer or because what I was talking about with it was entertaining and people liked it. But I guess I'm going to have to do that for other theatrical things that are coming out in the next couple of months now, which should be fun. I'm actually legitimately looking forward to going and seeing them now. So that's something. But no, it all depends.
Got to be one of them, right?
Yeah. Like it all depends on like what I want to talk about and if it's something I can just be passionate about and ramble on. So I also did a fairly recent video talking about Special Week and Uma Musume in general. That was not scripted either. But that one was more of that was almost a follow-up to our podcast because at one point in time we recorded a thing and Miles told me that he was a Special Week defender and I wanted to go on a rant on him about Special Week, but we didn't have time for it in the podcast and it didn't really make sense to hold on to that kind of rage and rant. So I turned it into a video. And I wanted to do a video on Uma Musume and stuff anyway. And I originally had an actual scripted video. Here's another thing. I had a separate scripted video comparing Uma Musume and Fate. Because my only real experiences with gacha is Fate Grand Order and Uma Musume Pretty Derby. So I made a scripted video comparing the two and I filmed it. And as I was editing it, I was like, I don't like this video. This isn't a good video. And so I scrapped it, and then I did that recording of Quest for the Best, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to rant about Special Week for like 15 minutes. That'll be fine, right? And then it did reasonably well.
You seem, your videos, from what you've just mentioned, seem pretty collaborative. You're talking with other creators. They're giving you ideas. Hey, you should go see the Demon Slayer movie. That turns into a video.
Yeah.
How much of that would you say happens with you?
Like historically, based on like how long I've been doing this, not very often. It's more of a recent thing, and it all comes down to like I am very bad at keeping up relationships with people. I don't know if you can potentially tell based on how much I've been ranting your ear off for the last like 40 some odd minutes. But historically, I've been fairly introverted, and it's very hard for me to find people to like talk about even just like anime with at a level that like we can be chill about it. And not like be like bristles up or anything about that, especially like if you start talking about anime that we both like and dislike and we're on opposite ends of it, that can get very divisive with different people. But I have done like collaborations with people before. As I said, I did writing and editing for a video or a video game channel. And I love working with those guys. They're absolutely great. It's just a matter of we all need to find the time to do it. But historically, most of my videos have been just me, which is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I don't feel the need to rely on other people for my own content, but it's a curse because if I'm not confident in the content that I create, that becomes a problem. And then I get like, not necessarily writer's block, but just kind of like creator's block, which is
in your
most
head
yeah. And it's like most of the problem that I have in any given month, if I'm trying to do a video a month, is like, okay, well, what the heck am I talking about this month? That's a very big problem for me. Like, and that's why I find those videos where I just rant about Special Week or I rant about going and seeing Uma Musume very easy for me to do because it's like a nice, simple solution to the complicated problem of what the heck can I talk about this month that people would actually give a care about, potentially. Because, like, I could talk about Ruri Rocks, but I don't know how many people want to talk about it, if for no other reason than I feel like a not insignificant amount of people who are watching Ruri Rocks is because of the fan service. That's why it's there. I get that that's why it's there. But it's also this fascinating show about mineralogy.
There's way more to it than that. I almost think that they started off with the fan service because they wanted to like hook people, and then for a good stretch of episodes they just like forgot and like didn't do any fan service at all. It was just
and then there was the maid episode, yeah.
And then there's the maid episode, and then there's the onsen episode. But you gotta you gotta keep feeding the fish.
Mm-hmm. So it's like I know why it's there, but then like if I want to make content about it, it's the elephant in the room I can't ignore, and I don't really know what to do about it. And then it like, okay, well then there's all these sequels that come out sometime, and it's like, okay, well, could I talk about Don? And I'm like, oh, but I never really talked about Don season 1 when it came out. So then it really turns into a video about Don season 1, but people really just want to talk about season 2 now, so I feel like I've missed the boat. What am I doing? And that ends up being...
I have like a notes document, and I keep track of like potential video ideas that could be scripts. So like right now, I have
so
like
many. I mean, I have a whole folder of like pages upon pages of scripts of videos I will probably never make. As I said, I have like I don't know how long it is now, but I have this stupidly long video script on Read or Die, and it's like, will it ever be made into a video? Probably not.
I'd love to watch that video, by the way. I think a lot of people
I'd love to make that video, but I don't have the like several months it would take to actually do it and to do it justice. It is a real shame. Well, because like there's also like things that I want to do with that video that I can't. It goes into the can I actually do this? Because there's like some fascinating stuff that I was finding out in the age of when the dub for this thing was created, because it was very different. It was a very different dub from the OVA series, despite the fact that like the back end creator or the back end like ADR people were the same. And so it's like, I would want to have to get in touch with somebody on the ADR team and be like, hey, can you answer some of these questions? And then I look at the ADR team and I notice, the biggest name here is Taliesin Jaffe. Oh, I'm not getting a hold of him anymore. Oh, that's not happening. So it's like, yeah.
No, it's so relatable because there's a lot of videos I want to make as well, but they require in-depth research. I have to like rewatch this, like, 26 episode series or something, so it just sits there in my backlog,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what's so interesting to me, because you're saying, what am I going to make this month?
Mm-hmm.
But you have like a pool of stuff to pull from. Like you don't think you could ever just reach into there? And
because that's
I guess
when
this
it comes
is the time
down
to break out this video.
Yeah. Well, then it also again comes down to like, well, what will work with the algorithm? What will actually work as a successful video? What will people want to click on? Because again, I don't put myself in the level of like H-Bomber where I could talk about Pathologic or whatever for a couple of hours and nobody's heard of it before. I can't do that. So like, I can't come out and say, hey guys, let's talk about Tatami Galaxy. And they're like, no. No. I'd love to. I'd like to be like, hey, there was this thing and it was a really, really great show by Yuasa. And then he went and made this film, Night is Short, Walk Out Girl, also very good. And it's like, nobody cares. Look at that. Nobody cares.
And that's really funny, because I feel like you're one of the creators that have really cultivated your own community. You do like surveys with them. You make videos about your audience. You answer their questions. Was that always
I feel
a really
so
conscious
disconnected
decision?
from them. I
Really?
feel so
Okay.
disconnected from the audience. It's sad. It's like there's
a lot of Glass
been...
Reflection fans out there.
Pardon? Oh no, I don't doubt it. It's just because again, like YouTube comments and all of that, I've tried to keep up barriers, because negativity and my emotional and mental state is kind of paramount to be me being able to make content. So if all I read is comments about how people are trashing on my shit, it's hard for me to stay motivated to make content. But then because I need to make content for a variety of reasons, I don't want to see those. But then in order to avoid seeing those, I end up also not seeing a lot of the good stuff and finding like good feedback from people. It's a rough cycle.
I get the inclination though. I mean, we just talked about Fez. You don't want to turn into Phil Fish.
No. Well,
Completely
I'm not that type of,
understandable.
I'm not the type of person. I'm not the argumentative type of person. Jeff Thu, on the other hand, good boy Jeff. He might go off and and punch a few people.
I associate the phrase "fuck you, fight me" with Jeff Thu. Like,
yeah,
so
no,
I get it.
That works. That's the thing. That works for him, and power to him for that. It's one of the things I admire about the guy, but that's not me. I am mostly conflict averse. I'm like, oh, you didn't like my stuff. Okay, well, maybe next time. Thank you for watching. Bye. That's me. That's kind of how I've been towards most of my content before, because it's like, well, if you don't like it, then you don't need to watch anything else I make, please. Don't be the type of person that hate watches my content and keeps coming back and tells me how shit I am, because then I get to the point of, well, what are you even doing here? You've already told me 5 videos ago you didn't like my stuff, and here you are again for the 5th time in a row now. What are we doing?
So like you said, you started off with reviews, which were kind of in the trend in
Yes.
back in the day, right?
Yes. Back
Even like the old like kind of 5-point like we're gonna talk about the story, we're gonna talk about the characters, we're gonna talk about the visuals.
God,
right?
yeah. I remember when I used to do that. I remember when I had numbers. That was a terrible idea.
But see, a lot of people did that. I think it's important to take into context the time period.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people did that. I went the step further though, and I think that was my biggest mistake. Like a lot of people have the like final rating, where it's like they talk about whatever they're talking about, but then at the very end they're like, here's our final rating out of 5 or out of 10 or out of baby thumbs up and fingers or whatever random thing that they'll do to sound unique, which is fine. I went the step further and I was like, oh, wait, no, I'm going to give a separate score to the story, to the animation, to the sound, and then I'm going to add it up. And then that's how I'm going to get my final rating. And I'm going to be all scientific about it until you get to something like Sword Art Online, where you need to give very high marks for animation and sound because it's done by A1 Pictures and it looks amazing. And you have Yuki Kajira on the music, so it sounds amazing. So you have 2 very high numbers there. And then because of that, your overall score ends up skyrocketing into the high 7s, 8s. And at a period where everybody is shitting on SAO, they start being like, well, why the hell did you give SAO like a 7.8? And I'm like, why do you think?
It's the numbers, the calculations.
Yes, it all makes sense. Actually, it would all make sense if you watch the video, which the problem with numbers and having numbers is that a lot of people don't watch the video. A lot of people would turn on the video, scroll all the way to the end, and just get the number. And that's why I stopped doing it, because it's like, if you watched those videos and all you saw was the 7 point whatever I gave SAO, I don't even remember. If that was all you saw, and you didn't have the context behind that number, you would get a very different idea on my thoughts of the show. And that was why I had to stop using numbers. That was why I feel like it was a terrible idea. Because people just weren't watching the whole thing.
And your titles back then are also very indicative of the time period, where it's just
GR Anime Review, title.
or SAO or title. Yeah, right. Now,
thumbnails were easier back then too. My God, you want to know how much time a YouTuber has to spend on freaking thumbnails? When back in the day, all I had to do was just like find a high quality PNG of key art, cut out the background, throw it on a gradient, and call it a day. My God, thumbnails were easier back then.
Oh man.
Now it's like I tried like a bunch of different things, and I even have access to the A/B testing in the background now. But most of the time, I feel like my thumbnails are trash and they're not good. And I'm not good at it. And then like I look at like people that tried to do the influencer thing of here's how to make good thumbnails on YouTube. And 9 times out of 10, they're just like, put yourself on it and do the Mr. Beast smile face. And I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like I do put myself on my thumbnails, but I don't try to do the Mr. Beast smiley things or anything like that. And I don't always put myself on thumbnails because sometimes I don't feel like it qualifies or it feels right or what have you. Like even the Demon Slayer one that I did, I don't like that thumbnail, but the A/B testing says that's the one that works. So I'm like, okay, fine. I guess the audience knows best. So yeah.
How many thumbnails do you try? Do you do all 3? And then do you do the title A/B testing as well?
I haven't been doing the title A/B testing as well, mostly because like I feel like if I tried and brainstorm, one of them is the only that I like anyway. Occasionally I've done the title A/B testing. That's been fine. Thumbnail A/B testing. My seasonal videos, I don't bother with that because I have a format for my seasonal videos that I'm just like, I'm not going to try and mess with this. I don't have the time or the energy. And then when it comes to if I use all 3 for the A/B testing on other videos, that all comes down to how many different thumbnail ideas do I have even. I may only have the one, but if I have 2 or more, then I'll A/B test. A/B test them and then see how it goes.
Now, how long do you let it run for? Because I think by default it runs for like 14 days. But then I always I check it every day.
Days. I usually give it about 2 days. Well, because I mean the majority of the what you want the A/B testing for is to get more clickability on your video. So the great time to do it is like in the first day or 2, because then people who are subscribed to you, people that are already algorithmically inclined to watch your videos just because it's you, that's when they're going to click on it anyway. And that is also the best time to do A/B testing because you get a very wide breadth of what people may or may not click on. And then you can use that data to pick the right one and then have that be the main thumbnail for when it's basically evergreen content. And what would people, like a month or two from now, what would they most likely click on? And that's what I use the A/B testing for.
And how much time goes into a title? You said that you usually have a title idea, and usually that you feel like that's your best one.
Yeah, sometimes it's a range. Sometimes it's a couple of minutes. Sometimes it's days.
Days.
Sometimes
which one of your titles took days? Do you have an example?
Not off the top of my head, because usually if it's days, it comes down to this video's got to launch. This is the title now. Yeah, it's like normally I try, if I'm going to make a video, I try to think about the title, not the thumbnail always, but the title at least from the get-go, because then it's just easier for me, because then not only do I come up with a title, and I already have one, but then I can sort of tie in the title to the content of the video itself. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the times it's just very easy. I went to go see the Demon Slayer movie. So easy. So easy. I just watched the Demon Slayer movie. Like, that is not complicated. The complicated ones is when you start doing like your more essay style ones. Unless you just do Death Note retrospective and call it a day. Like, I'm very easy. Like, you can look at my channel, you can look at the titles that I put on my videos, and you can be like, you didn't spend that long thinking of those. And I'm just like, yes, you are correct. A lot of times I did not. It is a major flaw with my content making strategy on YouTube, is I don't put anywhere near as much thought into thumbnails and titles as a lot of other people, and especially as I should. And I know that I should.
But it's like the worst part for me, right?
Yeah.
For me, I'm working on a video, I make the script, I record it, I edit it, it's finished product, and then you're like, oh crap, I have to make a title.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there at the upload screen trying to think of a title.
Yeah.
And then throw together a thumbnail, something, my last video, the initial click-through rate was 1.3%. I'm just like, oh, like, come on.
And it's all in the title and thumbnail. That's kind of the thing. It's like, the general recommendation is that you probably should spend almost as much thinking about your thumbnail and title as you do almost any part of the video, because that is what is going to get people to watch the video in the first place. And if that's bad, it doesn't matter how good your video is. Most times. I mean, again, some people, like the amount of times that I've seen, who's like Sungwon does this very well. He doesn't give a shit about his thumbnails. Go look at his channel. He doesn't care. He will upload a video and he'll just use the automated generated, here's the thumbnail, and that's it for him. And I'm like, man, to have that kind of confidence and ability to just rely on the YouTube auto-gen thumbnail and it works for him, I am so envious.
I mean, people know ProZD at this point. Like, he has the reputation in the cloud.
It works. They just see his face because it's just a screen cap from his video, and it works. And that's all you need. And I love formats. I love having a format. This is why I loved my old thumbnail style with the old gradients and stuff, because it's just like, no, this is what I have to do, and I can make a thumbnail. I love making thumbnails for Quest for the Best because we have a format. We have, this is what the thumbnail looks like, and yeah, there's some personality to it. There is a little bit of difficulty sometimes trying to find a usable freaking thumbnail from a movie from the 1960s, because we did a podcast episode on Cleopatra, which I don't know if you've ever seen. But it's a Tezuka film from the 1960s, and my God, trying to get a usable thumbnail out of that film, because it's one of those, half the film is not a content you can put on YouTube, because the full title of the film is Cleopatra, Queen of Sex. So you can only imagine that there's a lot of frames in this film I can't use. So
this was someone's top 100 contender. Probably Miles.
Well, Miles brought it up, but that was more of I think that's his start. We haven't got to the other parts of it, but he kind of considers that, like, I think he said it was a trilogy of Tezuka films. I don't remember what the third one is, but it was Cleopatra, Belladonna of Sadness, and then there was another Tezuka one, which name is escaping me. And he'd never watched Cleopatra, and we were at Anime North, and he's like, I have the perfect a movie for us to all sit down and watch. So we sat down and we watched Cleopatra, and then we recorded a podcast on it. And I think the other reason why we did Cleopatra first is because I think it's the less regarded of the three, which is hilarious because I can't even remember what the third one is. And so to start there means it'll only go up from there. So,
yeah.
And that wasn't even the worst film we watched that weekend.
Speaking of formats, you've had a couple of different video formats on your channel. So you've had must watch anime, you've had first reaction.
God, I
mailbag.
wish must watch anime worked.
No, so with that's what I'd like to know. Like, so were these like you sat down and you were like, I really want to make a series called Must Watch Anime, where I recommend must watch anime. How many of these come to mind? Are these like kind of fleeting moments of inspiration, or do you sit down and brainstorm new things for the channel?
It usually comes down to like a goal that I want to do. So Must Watch Anime is a good example of this. This came at a time when I was like heavily involved with, I keep mentioning it. The video game channel that I work with, because they're really cool guys, is called Re-Res. And their most popular video series is Just Bad Games. And you can imagine that they talk about just bad games. It's they do it in a very informative and comedic way. And I've written a couple of them. So yes, I know that. But Must Watch Anime came from around that period of time when I was talking to the main guy at Re-Res. His name is Shane, and he was having a particular problem with the channel because Just Bad Games is a very popular series for their channel, but he had a period of time, and he probably still does to this point. He doesn't like how overly negative the content is, or not necessarily, he doesn't like how negative it is, but he doesn't like how that's the only thing that seems to work very easily on YouTube. They've
become like typecast.
Not even just typecast, but like if you look on YouTube, things that are overly negative tend to do better than things that are positive. You get a better reaction from people who will want to hate watch something than trying to get someone to watch your very earnest video about this thing you like. It's a lot harder to get people to do that versus, hey, here's this piece of garbage. People want to watch the video about the piece of garbage. They don't always want to watch, like, hey, here's this really cool thing. So Must Watch Anime was like my attempt to be like, no, we can do positive stuff. So I did a Must Watch Anime on Chihaya Furu, and I did a Must Watch Anime on Sword of the Stranger. And as you can imagine, they didn't do very well. I mean, well, I guess Miles has argued with me that that's very relative. Because when we did our Quest for the Best episode on Chihaya Furu, and we had Songwon in because it's one of his favorite anime, Miles's argument was, you realize that your Chihaya Furu video is the most watched video on Chihaya Furu that wasn't a clip on all of YouTube, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess from that perspective, sure, it's fine.
You know, but it might not pay the bills is the problem. Relative views are nice, but...
But no, that video did not pay the bills. I loved it. I loved working on it. I really wish the format worked. But yeah, that is kind of the thing. So like the only way in the anime space I have found, and I'm sure other people can argue against it or have their own experiences that are different, but what I have found is that the only way that you can do positive anime related things is if you talk about the seasonal stuff, because you are talking positively about things that people like, and they like it in the now because it is what is airing. It is what people are talking about. You start getting too far away from things, too far away from the seasonals, and you're going to find it harder and harder to find an audience that actually relates to it and knows what you're talking about and cares, because people drop things so easily. Some people are able to make niches out of it. There's this one YouTuber I keep seeing recommended, and I watch virtually every video he puts out because it's all about Frieren. He makes so many videos on only Frieren.
Is it
and
Pay Talks Anime?
Yes.
Oh
yes,
my God.
It is. And
it's so funny.
They're so good. Those videos are so great, and I love watching them. But I'm just like, it's a niche. You're mostly talking about Frieren. He doesn't only talk about Frieren, but a not insignificant amount of his video content is just on Frieren. And it's like, I am so happy that you're able to do that, man. I am very happy for you that he can do that. That is just like so great. But traditionally, yeah, going back to the video format thing, is just like finding a way to do positive content on YouTube is very difficult. Like exceptionally difficult. So Must Watch Anime was me attempting to do that. But when it really comes down to it, the only two things that have really stuck for my channel has been just in general, anime reviews, ranting content, and then first reactions of new and airing anime. those are the things that have historically lasted the tests of time as far as my content goes.
But I think it's really neat that even after all this time being on YouTube, you still think of new ways and new things to present to your audience.
I mean, you try, if for no other reason than you get bored. Because as much as I do love formats, I love being able to say, hey, here's how I make a thumbnail, because I'm following like this format that we have created. You do it long enough and you do get bored and you kind of want to branch out and try other things, and maybe it works for you. Maybe it doesn't. Like over, again, using Re-Res as an example, Just Bad Games was kind of a weird thing that he did one time, because he had a completely different negative series on worst consoles ever, where he would find really bad and terrible video game consoles and he would review them and talk about them. And then once in a while he just decided, hey, we're going to do this different series on just bad games. And then that exploded on him and he was like, this is amazing. So like trying to do those different video formats can work out well. Can doesn't mean it always will.
Yeah, you got to dig up some dirt to strike some oil every now and then.
Yeah, more or less.
Now, speaking of kind of focusing on seasonal stuff, I actually have a question I would like to ask you, get your advice on.
Yeah.
I'm working on a Demon Slayer video. It's about the movie.
Cool.
After I watched the movie, the movie was like pretty good. It was so long. Like midway through the movie, I really had to go to the restroom, but I was like, it's so much has happened. So much has passed.
Right? You know why it's long. Season 5. It's all of season 5.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, no, look at it. Look at Mugen Train. Mugen Train came out. Everyone went to go watch Mugen Train. Then they're like, oh yeah, here's quote unquote season 2 of Demon Slayer. And it was just Mugen Train cut up. You watched the movie. Did you not get the feeling at multiple times while watching that film that, oh, hey, I'm watching an episode and they're about to cut to the end credits now. And then they didn't.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I watched that and I'm just like, this is season 5. This is it. They're going to take this. They're going to polish it up even more because they can. They're going to chop it into like 7 to 10 episodes. I can't remember how many episodes season 2 had after Mugen Train, but about the same. And that's what they're going to do. Anyway, I'm sorry. This was a side tangent to your story.
No, you're fine. I mean, I completely get the insight.
Mm.
But yeah, so I'm working on a video for it. The problem is, it's not going to come to streaming until like next year, right?
Yeah.
So I'm working on this video and I'm getting a little demotivated because I'm going to finish the script. I'm going to be able to record it, and I'm going to have no footage to show. And so do I try to piece something together from PV/manga panels, or do I sit on it and wait until it comes out on streaming and I'm able to get footage and then make the video?
And then the little devil appears on your shoulder. Hey, why don't you use a fan cam?
Oh god. I will admit it crossed my mind. I like looked it up to see if there is one, and there are. But
I looked them up before I went to the theater, and then you just see a couple of screenshots. And I know cameras have gotten a lot better, especially in low light nowadays. But at the end of the day, you're like, that is not for most videos, most movies that you want to see in a theater, a fan cam is not the experience you want to experience it in. But then especially for Demon Slayer, my God.
Especially Infinity Castle.
Yeah, my God. That is a movie that was made for the theaters. Which is going to be, like, when it eventually does get cut up and dumped into a season 5, it's not going to have the same level of, like, gravitas as being able to watch it on the big screen. Or the IMAX, if you're able to go see it in freaking IMAX.
But yeah, so what do you should I just, like, drop it right now and, like, wait? Or try working on something else? Or
depends. I mean, there is merit to sitting on it and then releasing the video once it does come to streaming.
Because that's a whole new surge of attention.
There will be a whole new surge of attention, and it'll probably do a lot better. So then it just comes down to, can you wait?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, then you might as well. Because the worst thing you can do is be like, hey, I'm going to make a video on Uma Musume, on the 2024 Uma Musume video. It's not technically been released many places in North America, so you might have to pirate it. but here's the video. And it's like, it's probably not going to do as well as you think. So yeah, my advice for that situation would probably be to hold off on it. It's not like you're going to have to worry about a situation where you wait and then you keep waiting because they don't release it. It's Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah, it'll be there.
It's gonna come out. I don't know if Uma Musume Beginning of a New Era is gonna come out. I hope it does.
How I wish it would.
I really hope it does. I'd love to come into theaters first. I'd love to see that film in a theater. I've watched it like 3 times since I first got a hold of it a handful of months ago, and I would legitimately pay money to go and see that magnificence on a freaking screen, a big screen. But yeah.
See, my issue is that when I make a video, for some reason, for whatever reason, I have to finish it. Like if I start on a video, something about my mind is like, I have to finish this or I can't work on anything else. I'm not one of those people that can have like 5 video scripts in concurrently, right? And some people like work on this and this and this whenever they feel like it, right?
Yeah.
Actually, a large reason of a lot of my hiatuses, because I every now and then things get overwhelming, and is because I'm working on a video and I can't get it just right. And then it demotivates me and I just don't put out anything, which is a bad habit. But
yeah,
I'm interested to see how that goes for you.
That used to be a thing. And then it's just like, I just got over it. So it's one of those things, if it's not working. So when I mentioned before that I had a completely separate video for Uma Musume and like Fake Grand Order that I wanted to do, and I got to the editing portion of it and I was just like, I don't like this. I mean, I have it. I need a video for this month. I could spend another day and finish it up, but I won't be happy with it. So I tossed it. And then, I mean, I was lucky enough to have another idea of what I could do for the video I want for a video to put up that month. But I am sure if you looked at my channel, you will find videos that, in retrospect, I kind of wish I shelved or I did something with it rather than try and stick to, no, I want to have a video up this month. There is going to be a video up. And then it's a video that I'm not like fully confident in. But again, sometimes that works out for the better. The most viewed video on my channel, assuming it still is the most viewed video, because I haven't checked in a while, was I needed a video that month or that week or whatever release schedule I had at the time. I need a video. Top list, sure. Throw it together in like 8 hours, toss it up, and it became the most viewed video on my channel. So you never know. You never know.
Well, I think that's a great place to end it at. I thank you so much for your time, Tristan. It's been really lovely speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. I had a good time.
Yeah. Everyone, go watch Class Reflection. Go listen to Quest for the Best. And, I don't remember my own outro. Okay. If anything I said was wrong, I'm sorry. I must have stuttered. Have a good day.
Stay frosty.